The Crocodile and the Hunter. A hunter went out into the countryside, far from his village, looking for food. After many hours he was sitting by his fire, eating the meat of the animal he had killed, when he noticed two eyes watching him from the bushes. The hunter picked up his knife, stood, and asked, "Who are you?" A wildcat then appeared. "I am Boaji," the cat said. "I can see that your skill has brought you a good day's kill. I'm afraid I haven't had such good luck, and I'm very hungry. Could you share your meat with me? If you do, I'll return your kindness in the future." The hunter shared his meat with Boaji. Boaji ate well and rested for some time by the fire. He then got up, stretched his long, thin body, repeated his promise to the hunter, and walked away into the bushes. The next day the hunter went out again. He came to a place where the wild grass grew very tall. It was difficult to see where he was going. As he was pushing through the grass, he found a crocodile. "What are you doing here?" the hunter asked the crocodile. "You should be in the water." The crocodile told the hunter his story. The night before, he had gone hunting. He had traveled too far from the river, and now he couldn't find his way back. He begged the hunter to help him. "Please show me the way back to the river. If you do this, I'll bring you 5 loads of fish." The hunter was happy to help. He tied a rope around the crocodile's foot and led him to the Niger River. At the water's edge, the crocodile thanked him. "I'm very grateful for your kindness. Now, if you untie the rope, I'll go into the river and bring you back 5 loads of fish, as I promised." The hunter waited high up on the riverbank while the crocodile dived into the dark water. After a few moments, the crocodile rose up out of the water with an enormous fish in his mouth. He swam quickly to the water's edge, came out of the river, moved slowly up the riverbank, and laid the fish in front of the hunter. He then moved slowly back down the riverbank and slid silently into the water. The hunter inspected the fish and thought, "This will make a fine meal." Soon the crocodile brought out a second load of fish. These fish were smaller, but equally fine-looking. He laid this load lower down the riverbank. The hunter came down and carried the load higher, laying it down next to the big fish. The crocodile then returned with a third enormous load of fish, saying, "Oh dear, this is heavy." This time, he left the load at the water's edge. The hunter came down, took hold of the load, and pulled it further up the riverbank. The crocodile appeared again with a 4th load, saying, "I'm beginning to feel quite tired, but aren't these beauties?" He then laid the load in the shallow water near the riverbank. The hunter came down, picked the fish up out of the water, and carried them high up the riverbank to where the first 3 loads were. Finally, after some time, the crocodile returned with the 5th load of fish, which he laid at the edge of the deep water. He called to the hunter, "I'm afraid I have no more energy. I just can't bring these any further. I hope you don't mind." The hunter came down from the riverbank, walked through the shallow water, and came to the edge of the deep water. He was bending down to pick up the fish when the crocodile suddenly jumped out of the river, closed his enormous jaws around the hunter's foot, and dragged him under the water.